Hello, this is Daryl.
And Taylor.
And we can't be here right now.
We cannot.
Because we're watching Star Wars The Last Jedi.
We're having our minds blown.
We obviously no spoilers because we deliberately haven't read any reviews except that it seems to be really good.
Except that Jar Jar is the Sith Lord and Luke Skywalker never existed. He was dead the whole time.
The show you're about to hear is actually a show we put out, a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. We did our Star Wars 11 on the eve of The Force Awakens. So that was, December 2015. So we didn't know anything about, I've forgotten her name even, Rey. We didn't know anything about Rey or Finn or all those people who I need to remember real fast before I go watch the movie.
Indeed.
But we did know all about the first 6 movies. So what you're about to hear
Poe Dameron. I got that one. Still going, baby.
What you're about to hear is our Star Wars 11 selected from the original trilogy and then the thing that happened in the late 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah.
But I thought it was good. We did a good show, I think, back in the day.
We did.
So I'm really happy to re-air it right now. It also gives us a great opportunity for a sponsor tie-in. Mm-hmm. Today's show is sponsored by Fuji. You have heard us talk about Fuji for the last, I want to say month, 3 weeks to a month. We've been running a holiday campaign for Fuji. You can buy one for Christmas at a really good discount.
But today is the final day. I think they've guaranteed shipping if you order by the 15th. Yep. After that, I'm not sure there are any such guarantees. So if you're still looking for that final gift to get for the soccer player in your family or just the athlete who likes to play outside, Fuji also works for that. Then you can get that Fuji.
So Fuji is a rebounder with a sort of court in front of it. So you play it against the net, it bounces or not, and then the next person plays it until somebody misses. Here's my question for you, Taylor.
Yes.
It's Star Wars themed. Which Star Wars character would be the best at Fuji?
I mean, I think it's kind of obvious, and I think the answer is Yoda. Because he's kind of all powerful, but you constantly
agile. I'll give you that.
But you also underestimate him because he's short. So you think, I'll make it bounce high. But obviously, he's got some hops. We've seen that. But he can contort himself into weird things. And if nothing else, he's like a master Jedi. He can control the ball. So maybe if it looks like he's not going to get to it in time, maybe it just holds up just enough for him to get a touch to it.
She's saying he'll cheat, essentially.
Yeah, actually, in that regard, maybe it's Darth Vader then, because actually Darth Vader would be the worst, because at least Yoda would be honorable. The Jedi have to be honorable. He's not going to cheat. So Darth Vader might cheat.
Thing with Vader is, as you're taking your shot, he would just stand off to the side and just lift his arm up and do a little choke. You'd be like, as you go to play the ball, and you would miss it.
Yeah, that would be great.
He's also not above summoning debris and using the Force to throw it at you as you're trying to get stuff done.
It's true.
I think he did to Luke.
But the worst one to play against would be Kylo Ren, just because if you did get a point against him, we see what happens when he gets frustrated. He's going to pout like a child. It's no fun.
He would take his Fuji net and go home.
Yeah, basically. But cut it up with a lightsaber first.
He's not great at playing father-son games.
No.
Speaking of, maybe Luke Skywalker, because I'm thinking a Fuji net might be about the size of that exhaust port.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true. T16 in wall breath?
You never see it.
Breath, yeah.
You never see it close up, and it looks really small. But the size of the Death Star, the exhaust port's out probably reasonably big. So I'm guessing about the size of a Fuji net.
Yep.
To be good practice for him.
Man, it's weird. We haven't talked about it since Rogue One because that is the usual joke, and now I have no joke because they've retconned a solution.
The best retcon ever. Mm-hmm. I could even see Luke doing it maybe with the blast shield down.
Yeah, I mean,
get
why
some
not?
Practice with Alec Guinness
He's
whispering.
also 50% less likely to use his hand, so there's that. Less cheating that way.
He certainly is.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you would like to buy a Fuji, I'd love if you could play with Star Wars characters. We can't guarantee that will happen. But if you go to playfuji.com, the link will be in the show notes. Use the discount code TSS 2017, that's TSS 2017, you'll get $20.17 off of Fuji. That's in addition to the rather large holiday discount that Fuji are already offering. Playfuji.com for a really, really good Christmas gift.
May the Fuji be with you.
Hello and welcome to the Total Soccer Show. I am Daryl Grove and I'm joined by a young man who is on his way to Toshi Station to pick up some power converters. It's Taylor Rockwell. Hello.
Nerd. Hello.
Hello. Well, we are nerds together today,
Correct.
Taylor, because we are picking Star Wars Soccer 11.
I am not proud of how much time I've spent over the past 2 days on Wikipedia.
Which is a real thing. And actually a very informative site.
Really, really is.
Maybe a little too informative.
Probably.
What I did instead, I watched all 6 movies in the past few days.
Yeah.
Which was kind of an ordeal.
My eyes bled.
But in a good way, right? I mostly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think so. As I said on Twitter a few different times, I knew how bad The Phantom Menace was. I had forgotten how bad Attack of the Clones was. And that was the one where really, in my head, I'd remembered it as being better than it was, I think because I was so upset by the first one.
Yeah.
So to watch it this time, I'd be like, no, it's a better movie. And you had said, like, no, it's not. And then I watched it, and no, it's not.
I will say, all three of the prequels, they're better than I remember. Mm-hmm. And I really mean that. They're better than I remember, but still not good. Yeah. There's that initial reaction of, oh, God, he's ruined everything. Mm-hmm. And then you go back and it's like, oh, it's not so bad. There's some fun stuff. And I can see why kids like it and all that.
It is really weird to watch them knowing that he figured stuff out based on reactions as he went along.
Yeah.
So it does seem like by the time they hit the third movie, they'd kind of figured out the formula a little bit. And then
Revenge of the Sith, not bad at all.
Yeah. But it's like, you kind of don't want them... Like, it seems like they flip the order so that it should be in Revenge of the Sith is when Anakin and Obi-Wan are starting to fight. Whereas, like, they're fighting in the clones, but then they're good friends.
But let's not go down this path. Let's not go down this path.
Yeah.
We're at the top of the show here. Spoiler alert for all 6 Star Wars movies that have been in theaters before December 18th. Yeah. We haven't seen the new movie.
We have not.
But that's sort of what's inspired us to do this. So we've watched the first 6 movies. And we've each picked our Star Wars Soccer 11. And we're going to go position by position and give you our selections and our reasons. So, Taylor Rockwell.
Yes, sir.
You're not going to make it to Toshi Station, I'm afraid, because I've stopped you here. Who is your goalkeeper for your Star Wars Soccer 11?
It's the little green man. It's Yoda. It is Yoda in goal. Okay.
Tell me why.
There's a few different reasons. Okay. So he's an organizer. He's a tactician. A thinker. He commands respect. All the important things. So there's the mental aspect of this, which is that he's very small. And we've played against teams where they have a small goalkeeper. And you're like, oh, I'm just going to shoot from distance. I'm going to shoot from wherever. Because he's not going to be able to save it. If I shoot high, it'll be a goal.
Yeah.
So he's going to lure you into taking bad shots.
Yeah, because you judge him by his size.
Yeah, exactly. But he obviously can, we've seen, he can jump everywhere. He can save everything and use the force. But the thing I'm thinking here is he's like Manuel Neuer. Right? Because he stays at home. He can stay in the Jedi Council and operate from within and stay where he's supposed to be. But he's not afraid to go out and get stuff done. He'll go out and fight. He'll go out and command legions. He'll do all that kind of thing. So he'll go out when he needs to set things right to get things organized, and then he'll go back and do what he's supposed to do.
My goalkeeper? Also Yoda.
There we go.
So we've got some of the same reasons. Yeah. I've got, you put the old guy in goal, and he's hundreds of years old.
He is.
You don't judge him by his size. You make the mistake if you do that. You try and there'll be a lot of failed lobs attempted on Yoda. I think his weird speech patterns are actually an advantage because he puts the verb first, right? So when he says, clear it, under pressure you are, right? You hear the clear it first, so you get it done. 2 men in the wall, I need. Like you hear 2 men, you get it done, right? So his communication skills, absolutely key. Best of all, no indecision when he's coming for crosses or not. Do or do not. There is no try. So he won't get caught in that no man's land that goalkeepers sometimes get caught in.
2 things about that. Number one, don't they establish pretty quickly that only Sith steal in absolutes? Because do or do not sounds like a pretty big absolute to me.
If we get into all the holes that are in the first 3 movies versus the last 3 movies, we'll never get to our team.
Okay, but I want to talk about his speech pattern for a second.
Okay.
Like in the second one, where you've got the clones and everything, shouldn't one of them be like, what? When he's like, attack now you should. It's like, I didn't get attack? I don't know what you're saying to me. Like it seems like we know how Yoda talks as the audience.
No, but that's the point. He puts the basic stuff first. Attack now. There we go. All right, attack now. You don't even need to listen to the second part. The second part is filler. The first part is a clear instruction that his defense can listen to. I got my final point for Yoda. The only one in the Star Wars universe with one name means he's Brazilian.
Yeah, but Brazilians aren't famous for having the strongest of goalkeepers.
That is true. He'll be the first. He'll be the first. So we agree on our goalkeeper.
We do.
That's amazing. All right.
We do.
Next up. So Yoda's in goal. Next up, our centre-back pairing. We're going 4-4-2, by the way. So our centre-back pairing. Taylor, who are your 2 centre-backs?
Okay, so I'm a Manchester United fan. And
yes,
historically, there've been, that's been a bedrock of the team, right? You have these strong centre-back foundations. You have people like Pallister and Bruce, and you have Jaap Stam in there, and you have Rio Ferdinand and Nemanja Vidic. So I want a strong pairing. They know how to operate. They have this relationship based on trust and understanding. They don't even have to speak the same language. It's Han and Chewie. That's my center back pairing. Have you got the same one?
Yes. So we should make clear we've been very careful not to show each other our lineups.
Okay.
So far we're 3 for 3.
All right, so let's talk it out then. Since we both have them, let's do it. Because, I mean, it makes sense, right? Yes. They don't even have to speak the same language. Come on now. They just know. They know how to handle each other. They know how to respond to each other. They know how to get stuff done. that can be like intelligent thought. It can be hitting something with a wrench. They're going to get things moving.
There's a clear hierarchy, right?
Right.
Han's the captain.
Yeah.
Chewbacca's the first mate. Mm-hmm. So they do argue, they bicker now and again, but they know who's in charge. The other thing is they're always at their best when they're on the defensive, right? Whether it's heading into an asteroid belt or making a getaway from a Star Destroyer, they're always scrambling on the defensive. That's when they do their best work.
Mm-hmm. But I think they're also a good pairing because you've got the good combinations. You've got Chewie, got the size there, the imposing stature.
You've got a big man, right?
You've got Han, who's quick. Maybe not himself, but talk about the Kessel Run.
Yeah.
Does that pretty fast, my friend, in 12 parsecs, which isn't a thing. But anyway, so you've got that, and then you've got Han who's going to, he talks. Mm-hmm. He's sassy. He's going to kind of jaw back at his opponent. He's going to get him into trouble. They're going to get mad. They're going to get frustrated. He's going to be drawing some cards.
Here's what else I've got. So I imagine them as Metasaka and Koscielny. Right?
All right.
Chewie is Metasaka, he's a big guy. Koscielny is the kind of risk-taker, adventurous, will just go and make tackles that you maybe don't expect him to make. Don't tell him the odds. He doesn't want to know the odds. He's just going to go and do it. He's going to go and get the ball back. Han Solo, the downside is he's only in it for the money. Okay. What great soccer player isn't?
See, I would say the other downside, I agree with you there, and that's why I have him though more as a Sergio Ramos. Because... yeah, he's in it for the money. That's the thing that happened this summer. But he takes risks, right? He's going to make big gambles. Sometimes they work. Sometimes they don't. And you end up frozen in carbonite.
Well, that's my other thing. Sometimes he has been known to freeze on the big occasion. But it only happened once and it wasn't his fault.
But in that sequence, one of my favorite things that I've ever seen pointed out about the Star Wars universe is why you should be like Han. Do you know this image? I think I've talked about it on the show before. So they're in Cloud City in Empire Strikes Back, and they're supposed to go have dinner with Lando. The doors open, and Vader's standing right there.
Yeah, shoot him!
And everyone else panics. Everyone else is like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Han immediately pulls for the gun and shoots.
Yeah.
That's what he does right away. He doesn't worry. He doesn't freak out. He doesn't try to protect anybody.
Yeah,
he shoots.
It doesn't go that well, though.
But he makes the decision, and that's what I want. He doesn't hesitate. He goes for it. That's what you need in a center back. That's what you need in a pairing is that relationship.
I've got 2 more points for you.
All right, let's have them.
The other thing with Chewie, if there's any doubt, he has been known to pull someone's arms off if he loses.
This is true.
So a smart opposition strategy may be let the Wookiee win.
Yeah, we saw it happen in the movie.
He's going to win a lot of ball.
Exactly.
He's going to win a lot of ball. Bonus, I know that this is our defensive pair, but they're great at joining the attack late and unexpectedly.
Just well done.
Right?
I'm so proud of you. That's so good. Yeah, you're right.
So there we go. We agree on our centre backs.
Off of big set pieces.
Off of big set pieces. Han Solo and Chewbacca are our centre back pairing. Should we go next to our right backs?
Sure.
Who's your right back?
I know
if you've got the same one, then we're in trouble.
It's not because I don't think you even have this guy on your list. It's Qui-Gon Jinn.
Oh, no, I don't have him.
Okay.
But underrated character. I really like him in the
That's why
movies.
I've got him in there. Yeah, so he's also the only one who's kind of acting in the first one. I think it's him and Ewan McGregor are the only ones. But that's a separate issue. So regarding Qui-Gon himself, we know he's a good master because he trained Obi-Wan Kenobi. You want the guy with the long hair. You got to have somebody with good hair in your squad, right? Okay. So we got that. But he's the one, and they say to the very end of Revenge of the Sith, he's the one that teaches Yoda and Obi-Wan how to do Ghost Yoda and Ghost Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
He's the one who shows them how.
To commune with the dead. That
exactly.
Was it, right?
So which means he's obviously very powerful, but it also means that, say, he's out with injury, but say he's this veteran leader, well, it doesn't matter because he's still going to be there. He's still going to be able to help you along because even when he's not there, he's there. He's showing you the way. That's what you need in a defender. He's going to help you figure out how to handle things even when he himself can't do it.
I had a bonus. I was thinking of Qui-Gon as a talent scout. Because even when he wasn't looking for it, he found the kid with the highest midichlorian count in the entire universe. And so he should be in charge of scouting.
And along with that, he's also, I have my own director of scouting.
Oh,
That's coming up later. Don't worry about that. But he's also a big one.
Director of scouting.
Oh, yeah. I've got a technical director. I've got an executive director, a manager, and a director of scouting.
Wow, all right.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, executive chairman, excuse me. But the final thing with Qui-Gon Jinn is that even though he's a good guy, even though he's on the Jedi Council, the light side of the Force, he's not afraid to cheat. He moves the die around so that he gets Anakin and not the mom and stuff like that.
The thing with
so he will break the rules even though he's a good boy. He's not a Boy Scout.
It's that smart cheating that defenders do, right?
Exactly.
Where you just get away with little things, right?
He's not diving into challenges, but he is, throwing an elbow in to frustrate the attacker. That's my right back, Daryl. Who have you got?
My right back is R2-D2.
Ooh.
R2-D2. He's short, he's crafty, and he has an unexpected burst of pace. These are all things that you want in a good fullback.
Screams a lot. You've got to have that in a fullback.
Well, no. He's got the crazy beeping language.
Yeah.
He can swear all day long. I'm convinced he's swearing all through all those movies, right? But no one can really understand him, so he can swear all he wants at the referees, never get carded, because the referee will just be like, what? No one will understand him. He really is clever and crafty. He tricks Luke in the first movie to taking off the restraining bolt.
Right.
Remember this? When he's showing half the message from Leia?
Yeah.
And he says, if you take the restraining bolt off, I'm sure I'll be able to play the rest of it. Luke takes the bolt off and he's like, the message is gone. Sorry, dude. And then he disappears in the night.
Yeah.
He's a crafty little man. He's a crafty little man. So I have him as an overlapping fullback who goes on adventures, which he does, right? But always comes home. I think the first movie, he finds his way back to Obi-Wan.
Okay.
After, 20 years?
Yeah.
Between movies?
19
finds
years,
his way back. Best of all, if you tell him the tactical plan, he will keep it in his memory the whole time. He's the one that's always aware of the tactical plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, here's the two problems I see. Number one, kind of small. He's not winning those headers.
Fullbacks.
But I guess you don't have to have that as a fullback. But yeah.
Also, you saw in the prequels, he's got the boosters to fly.
He does have the boosters.
A lot of people are not happy about that. Useful when those crosses come.
Very useful. And also R2 Ex Machina. But anyway. But my other issue is that, as they say in Revenge of the Sith, there's the joke about, no loose wire jokes. Because he doesn't know how to send the elevator the right way. There's a lot of little mistakes he makes here and there. So aren't you worried about that at all? That he's going to, think he's playing defense when in actuality he's way up the field and he's just not kind of paying attention? And
I just trust him to find his way back one way or another, because that's what he does.
Eventually, in the key moments, he'll be there.
I mean, we're going to have in our stadium, we're going to have elevators just work independently.
Yeah.
We won't need R2 to be sticking his thing in there and moving it around.
R2-D2 is such a good character.
Yeah, you can't not have him in the team.
I know.
Right?
Well, I don't have him in the team, so I'm glad you do.
So who's your left back, Taylor?
No droids up in my lineup.
No droids?
No, man. We've seen the downfall of droids time and time again. I know. I'm okay with it. It's how it has to be.
Who's your left back?
My left back is Mace Windu. And here's the thing that I've done, okay, with my starting 11 is I've tried to balance it, right? So I want it to reflect.
Restored balance to the Force.
More on that later. But so it's based on trying to find a balance between the dark side and the light side of the Force and having good chemistry, right? So the Jedi are the protectors of the universe. They're the ones who keep order, who sacrifice themselves. So I think of them more as a little bit defensive. So that's why you have Yoda in goal. You've got your left back as Qui-Gon Jinn. You've got your right back as Mace Windu. Okay? So we know about Mace Windu from the prequels. He's capable of figuring out what the other team is trying to do, right? He can sense it all. He knows something's wrong. Slowly but surely.
He's a suspicious man. Yeah.
He's a suspicious man who can figure out who the actual playmakers are, right?
Okay.
It's not like he doesn't get caught up in the details. He's able to kind of focus through and figure out. I don't
like the look on that guy's face. He's up to something. Yeah.
So he sniffs out opposition plots. He has the ability to detect when things aren't as they should be. He is going to be the only defender wearing purple shoes. Do you know what that's about?
Yeah, he's a lightsaber.
Yeah, but do you know why that's the case?
Didn't Samuel L. Jackson ask for it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
He wanted it, and Lucas was like, because in the first one he was begging to be in the movie, but then he realized that Lucas needed him for the next two because he was an integral character. So that's when he said, okay, well then I want a purple lightsaber so I know where I am in the movies. So this guy's going to have purple shoes, so you're going to see where he is on the field, but he's also going to be a solid, resolute defender for you.
I like it. Mace Windu in purple shoes.
Exactly.
My left back is C-3PO. So,
boo.
Exactly. You need one guy on your team that nobody likes. So all your players and all your fans can have the one guy they focus on. He's like the Jonathan Bornstein left back in my Star Wars Soccer 11. He's always complaining, and everyone either ignores him, tells him to shut up, or I think Leia turns him off at one point. But he's just he's a good place to just focus all of your negative energy. But the one thing he's key for, translator. I believe he's fluent in over 6 million forms of communication. So when you've got when you've got the Wookiee and you've got everybody else trying to talk to each other, 3PO is the one the reason he's on the team is just to facilitate communication between everybody else.
Can I say one small problem that I see?
What's that?
He's literally ripped apart twice.
And put back together. But he can survive any injury.
But you don't want a defender who gets ripped apart, right? Has there ever been a good description of a defender getting torn to pieces?
Chewie will put him back together.
Okay.
Semi-successfully,
yeah.
He's the only one he's got eyes in the back of his head.
That's true. I see some holes. I see some holes in this defense that my team might exploit.
3PO staying on mine. 3PO staying.
Okay.
All right, Tyler, let's move on to our midfield. We're going 4 in the midfield.
Yep.
Defensive midfielder, attacking midfielder, and wide players.
Yep.
Who is your defensive midfielder? Who's the Kyle Beckerman of your Star Wars Soccer 11?
You mean who's the Roy Keane of my Star Wars Top
Okay.
11? Because I want a defensive midfielder who can track his mark to the ends of the universe. That's what Boba Fett does. Yes, sir. He's fearless. Okay, he's one of only 2 people in this franchise that can talk back to Vader and not suffer for it. Luke gets his hand shut off.
Wait. When does he talk back to Vader?
When Vader assigns him to go out and hunt down the princess and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He gives him a little lip there. More on that in a second. But then he's like, he's no good to me if he's dead, and like he's very, he's got no problem telling Vader what's what, and suffers no consequences for that. Everybody else gets thrown down an elevator shaft or gets their hands cut off. So you got that going on. But after Solo is frozen in carbonite, as he's loading him into the ship, he says, load Captain Solo into the storage chamber or whatever. So he still says Captain, right? So he still has that respect there. It's not just like, load Solo. Like, he's still showing him his proper title. So he's got a little bit of, like, grudging respect for people who are of a higher caliber.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Isn't he General Solo at that point? Oh, no, that's in Return of the Jedi. He's General Solo. Yeah.
But he's not afraid to be ruthless. As I said, Vader has to remind him not to disintegrate his opponents, which I think is to which he grudgingly agrees. So he really wants to get in there and knock some bodies around. So, yeah, so he respects some opponents. He's ruthless at home. He pops up in unexpected moments to get things done and eventually falls victim to a monster with a huge mouth that eats people for meals without a thought as to their future. Basically, Sir Alex Ferguson. He's Roy Keane. So there you go. That's what I want. An even more badass Roy Keane.
So I think Boba Fett's going to be fine as long as there are no games played near Sarlacc pits.
Exactly.
He's got to be real careful of those.
Exactly.
And I'm also imagining whoever our coach ends up being, we've each picked a coach, the team talk is going to be the whole tactical plan and everybody do this. And the final thing he says before he goes out, remember Boba Fett, no disintegrations this time.
Exactly.
I imagine Boba Fett just sitting there like saluting, like, yep, got it.
That's fine. But, you throw some chewing gum into the Sarlacc pit. It's a little bit Sir Alex Ferguson-esque. It'll let you know what's what. It's there always.
Kind of a compliment.
Even in the background, it's there.
My defensive midfielder is a slightly bigger guy than Boba Fett. It's Jabba the Hutt. So he's not in great shape. I'll grant you that. But he is physically imposing.
Okay. Giant slugs tend to be that.
Yeah, I'm picturing more like Jan Molby in his Liverpool days for older Total Sock Show listeners. What he does do, he controls his area through threats and intimidation. I've written down, basically, he's Roy Keane. We both have Roy Keane analogies for our tough guy defensive midfielders. He's strong-minded. He ain't falling for no Jedi mind tricks.
This is true.
Jabba the Hutt. And he's also putting out bounties on opposition players. So essentially, my defensive midfielder is your guy's boss.
Yeah, with the exception that he can be bought off. That's the problem there. Because he confronts Solo in the reimagined 1997 New Hope. And then Solo's like, I'll pay you later. And he's like, okay, that's fine. So, it's a little bit of itchiness morally. That's all.
All right, so there are our 2 defensive midfielders.
Yep.
Now we have our number 10s, our attacking midfielders, our creators. Taylor, who's pulling the strings on your team?
General Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Lovely.
That's right. He's a general, so he knows how to run.
Old Ben Kenobi.
I can't decide, actually. That's a tough one, right? Because
I think if you know him well, you can call him that.
No, but which Obi-Wan are we talking about?
So I feel like the good thing about Kenobi is he's the same guy throughout the 6 movies.
Right.
He's just younger or older.
Credit to Ewan McGregor for that one, by the way.
Yeah.
Did you know that he had them basically compile all of the footage of Alec Guinness from the first one? He just watched it on a loop continuously
I can see
learn
that.
how to talk like him, which is very cool.
I didn't like it the first time I saw the prequels. I didn't like it because I felt like he was doing like a weird accent. You know what I mean? But watching, so this is the first time I've watched it from Phantom Menace through to Return of the Jedi, and it helped. The whole thing makes sense with Obi-Wan Kenobi. I feel good about it.
Speaking of watching it all the way through, later on, can we discuss what we think the proper viewing is? So say you were to show it to a nephew or something like that. What would you say is the recommended viewing order? So we'll talk about that one later.
Okay.
That's what I want to get to later. But right now I want to talk about General Kenobi.
Why is Obi-Wan number 10?
Okay. So as I said, he can run an attack. He coordinates forces. He wins wars. So I think he can win a soccer game here and there. Okay. He's a wise playmaker who can be quick to action when necessary, but is capable of unlocking a defense, right? So he's not always rushing to do stupid things. He doesn't get caught in traps too easily. And when he does, sometimes it's because he wants to be caught in a trap. He wants to lure people in. The big thing is he brings balance to the attack, and that's going to be a big thing with my team. I'm going to need him in there to balance things out a little bit, to help kind of be this leading figure, to help people kind of figure out their true, glorious future, shall we say. And he isn't going to win many headers because he hates to fly. We've established that one. But I'm looking for him to put in a complete performance since he is in all 6 movies. I think he's going to be there from start to finish. You're not going to have to sub him off in the 75th minute. That said, he does get killed in roughly the 75th, the equivalent of halftime, basically.
Just after halftime.
He basically gets subbed out of the 55th minute.
55th. Yeah. That's fine. That's a good stretch for number 10.
He's mostly there.
Well, maybe my guy can replace him.
Sure.
When Obi-Wan comes out. My attacking midfielder is Anakin Skywalker. So this is Anakin pre-Darth Vader. So I feel like Obi-Wan makes the distinction, right? It's partly to trick Luke in a mean trick about who his dad is.
Yeah.
But basically there is Anakin Skywalker and then there's Darth Vader. So young Anakin is the most gifted Jedi probably ever.
I believe he's the chosen one.
He's the chosen one. He's got all kinds of skills, all kinds of talents. Really does take risks, but they almost always come off. Much even to Obi-Wan's disapproval when he's not happy with him, like jumping out of windows and all that sort of stuff. So he's very creative. I see him, but he's obviously got a dark side, right? Obviously got a dark side waiting to happen. He's got all kinds of anger, all kinds of issues. I see him as a George Best, Diego Maradona, Paul Gascoigne type creative because all those really brilliant, genuinely brilliant creative guys have a kind of a dark side that they're sort of fighting against. So if we can keep Anakin just at the edge of the tipping points before he goes all murdery, before he starts murdering children, then he's the ideal creative attacking midfielder.
Here's my problem with that selection, Daryl. Is that essentially in 2 years he's getting sold to Galactic Real Madrid. The Galactic Galacticos of Real Madrid. Because he's basically David Beckham, right? This is why Sir Alex Ferguson sold David Beckham. Like, he becomes too concerned with his hair and the way he looks. The big thing, he's too concerned with his girlfriend. He's worried about his private life. He's not focused on the field. He's worried about his marketing and how people know that he's the best Jedi ever. He's just going to whine about his girlfriend the whole time.
But for a couple of glorious seasons.
That's okay. I'll give you that.
It'd be really useful. You just got to know when to sell. Like maybe what Spurs did with Gareth Bale, right? Get top dollar for him.
Do you want to hear my impression of Anakin Skywalker in Attack of the Clones?
Me.
That's it.
It's pretty impressive.
That's it. That's all it is.
All right, Taylor, who's your right winger or right midfielder? It's up to you how you're doing it.
Okay, this is maybe foreshadowing to who will be in my attack. But you want a midfielder who can skate through defenses, stay injury-free, and score the crucial strike when needed. That's Wedge Antilles. That is Wedge Antilles. So if you don't know who Wedge Antilles is, he's that guy in the Star Wars movies, basically.
Yeah, I couldn't have spotted him in a lineup until I started rewatching these movies and trying to take notes on every character.
So he's one of the few people outside of that main group who is in 2 of the original Star Wars movies. I think it's like him and Grand Moff Tarkin. Maybe he's in there. I forget. There's one other one who's in there randomly, but he is the other one, and he is in all 3 movies, fighting in all 3 movies, and he's the only one to be in every single major battle, a major fighter battle. Get through him unscathed, and he blows up 2 Death Stars. That's a pretty solid performance from a winger. Speaking of which, do you know what he's flying in 2 of those movies? An X-Wing. That's right. He's a winger by nature. That's what he's meant to do. But the big thing is he started out from the bottom, right? So he came through the Rebel Academy. So he comes in as Red 26 or whatever in the first movie. Then he's Rogue Leader. Then he's Red Leader by the time we get to...
it's a proper youth team product.
Return of the Jedi. Whew, I got there eventually. Yeah, so he's like Giggs. He came through the academy, and by the end, he's this respected figure who's leading people, leading attacks, figuring stuff out, blowing up stuff. I like it.
Does Wedge have a brother?
I don't know. Why?
I just wondered.
Oh, I see what you did there.
He needs to be careful.
I don't know. Apparently, the guy who plays him, I think it's the guy who plays Wedge Antilles, is Ewan McGregor's uncle, though. Which is a weird connection, right?
It's amazing.
Yeah, but Wedge Antilles, unscathed through 3 battles. That's
Lovely.
what you need.
My right winger is Obi-Wan Kenobe. Okay. I've got Obi-Wan on the right wing. Yeah. So here's 2 reasons why.
Weird, because it seems like he should be on the left wing. Don't the Jedi seem a little bit more left wing than right wing?
Maybe. I'm not getting into politics with you. I'm not getting into the politics of the Empire.
Okay.
First of all, he'll sacrifice himself for the team.
Yep.
So you love a winger that will do that. Like, he's not just all about himself, sacrifice himself for the team. On the other side, on the left wing, I've got a guy who's a little more selfish. So on the right wing, I've got someone who will sacrifice himself for the team, especially if Luke's watching. Best of all, Obi-Wan is a set-piece specialist. If you take him down, he's going to be dangerous. You know how I know this? Because he tells Vader, if you strike me down, I will become more powerful than you could possibly imagine. What is that if it's not a threat? That if you foul me, I will score this set-piece.
I hope he says that at every moment of every
game. He does.
Game.
Every time he gets near the box. He gets really old. But he can deliver on his promise.
I hope that becomes his nickname. On the back of his jersey, it just goes all the way around the number. He's got that name written out in such tiny letters.
Well, on the front, he's got, if you strike me down, I will become. On his back, if you foul him and he goes down, it says, more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
You're paying by the letter for that jersey, I think.
Who's your left winger, Tyler?
My left winger is Darth Maul. Yes.
Ooh, all right.
I know. But he's agile.
What do you
he's
mean,
speedy.
you know?
Well, because I think he's one that I remember as being like one of the saving points of Phantom Menace.
Right.
And it's a thing where when you're a little kid, you're like, oh, he's so cool looking. And maybe you go back and watch. It's like, he's not that cool looking. We're going to talk about that in a second. But in the meantime, I'm going to say he's agile. He's speedy. He's not easy to bring down. And he's pretty focused on his cool appearance. He's basically Cristiano Ronaldo, right? Because he's got, he's got the cool look. He's got the sharpened horns and stuff like that.
He can take on two defenders.
He's got the double-sided lightsaber, right? So he can do two tasks.
Yeah.
He can maybe get forward, he can get back, he can take on two defenders.
Uh-huh.
He's got that versatility. He's got confidence bordering on arrogance, which is something I think you need from a great attacker.
Uh-huh. Like Anakin.
But a big thing, right? Yes, like Anakin. Big thing is he knows when to commit, right? Because in the first movies, he's kind of lets the droids do the work. He sends them out, and he lets them do the kind of heavy lifting. But then he gets in there for those two big attacks, and they're awesome, right? He's in there, and they're really like game-shaping. They shape that movie. It's the great fight with Qui-Gon Jinn. It's the great fight with Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobe at the end.
Yeah.
So he kind of picks his moments, and then when he's in there, he's in there. And then the big thing, I think it's important for a winger, is that he's literally set up to be a performer over two halves.
Because he gets sliced in half at the end.
I'm back here. Yes, I rode away to celebrate that one. You're welcome.
Oh, that wasn't in shame. That was in celebration.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So my left winger is Sebulba.
Ooh.
Sebulba the pod racer from the Phantom Menace.
Mm-hmm. Phantom Menace, left wing for both of us.
There we go. He's a Doug, an especially dangerous Doug.
Mm-hmm.
You might not like him because he's kind of the villain of the first half of that movie, right? But he is incredibly skillful, even at high speeds.
It occurs to me that people might not be as nerdy as we are. What is a Doug, Daryl?
It's what Sebulba is.
It's his race of alien, right?
Yes.
It's not like his nickname is Doug. It's like Doug Sebulba.
That's what little Anakin says. He's a Doug, an especially dangerous Doug.
Okay, I gotcha. Thank you.
So do you know how many pod races Sebulba loses?
One.
Ever? So
Ever?
the rest of his career, he wins all the time.
Yeah.
The only race he ever loses is to a Jedi, and that's basically cheating. Right? If you're a Jedi, you should not be in pod races.
Yeah, I wonder if they make a
They
little
go
bit
back. There's an asterisk next
Do
to
you
that
think they
race.
make a little money on the side doing that?
There's an asterisk. It's like steroids, right? There's an asterisk, and if you look down the bottom, it's asterisk says Jedi.
So I'm trying to think who it is, like who always. It's like Steven Gerrard. Like, he's a really great performer, but he never wins the big one.
No, Sebulba won plenty. So skillful
Okay.
at high speeds, and here's the kicker: the only character in the Star Wars universe with actual foot skills.
Ooh, that's a
Right?
good point. Yeah,
He normally
You're
will stand on his hands and use his feet to do complex tasks. He's proper foot skills. So you imagine him racing down the wing with those quick feet and skillful feet. Sebulba is my left winger. And he's nasty. He'll happily knock people out the way to go past them.
Okay, he's not that ruthless. He's Leo Messi. That's what I'm going to say. Because Leo Messi, he's won all the silverware. He's been the best player countless times, but he's never won the big one. He's never won the World Cup. That's the major knock against him. He couldn't beat a Jedi Sebulba. He can't win the World Cup.
No, he
Messi.
won a bunch of other huge races.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
Right?
I still say he's a little bit Messi-like.
Just this one cheating Jedi little boy that he couldn't beat.
Cheating Jedi boy. Okay. So we've got defense, midfield, goalkeepers. What about attack, Daryl?
All that's left is our forwards, right? It's you first, Tyler. We can do this as a pair.
Yep.
Okay. What's your strike
And I've gone
force?
traditional. So I want a striker
Traditional.
and I want a center forward, right?
Okay.
We know the difference, right? The striker's
Striker's all about scoring goals. Centre forward does all the other stuff
Right.
as well.
Darth Vader is my striker. Luke Skywalker is my center forward.
Explain.
Okay. So Luke, first of all, probably going to be operating more on the left side of the field since he's lost some of the ability on the right. He got his right hand cut off. You're welcome. He performs a number of different roles in different situations, but he gets the ideal result most of the time, right? So he can kind of pop up here, pop up there, move around here. He's a versatile attacker, right? He's not just sitting in the box.
If you say so.
I do say so. Maybe not performer. I didn't say from an acting standpoint. I didn't say he's a versatile performer. I said from a character standpoint.
He plays naive very well. Is I believe what someone said.
Yeah. He puts the needs of others ahead of his own situation. Leia, Vader, the rebellion even. So it's like he's not just trying to get the credit. He's trying to help everybody be a better player. And when needed, he finds the target, the Death Star, and when he's bullseyeing Womp Rats in his T-16 back home. So he can get it done. Vader, I don't want him doing any defensive work at all. He's really not a good defender. The Death Star, defending Padme, even defending the Sith a little bit, he's not great. But he's great at attacking, okay? He will absolutely annihilate young defenders. We saw that happen a couple different times in the third movie.
The younglings.
Yep. He's as imposing as it gets. He's like an even more frightening Zlatan. Right?
Yes.
Many pundits have long held that it's actually Vader that brings balance to the Force for the attack, right? So he's going to balance everything out. He's going to make it all work. And he's basically a cyborg with built-in medical equipment, so he's never getting injured, and he can heal himself, and he can cheat a little bit with the Force. He's not afraid to be ruthless and break the rules to get it all done.
All right.
There we go.
Okay, so my forward pairing also includes Luke Skywalker, but he's up there with his sister.
Ooh.
It's a Luke and Leia strike partnership. I'll give you my reasons why. First of all, telepathic link.
Oh,
Picture Luke
like
hanging off the edge of the Cloud City. Is it Bespin? Hanging just by his legs, and he has to telepathically connect to Leia, and she hears him, and she comes. So that is a helpful connection up front.
Vader and Luke also have that.
Yeah, but they mostly argue when they do it.
It's fine. They work it out in the end, sort of.
So you made some of the good arguments for Luke. I'm gonna do some more for you. He'll drop back to help his friends, even if it's ill-advised.
Yep.
He can be a little bit whiny, but he knows how to run in the channels, whether it's the trench on the approach to the Death Star or Beggar's Canyon back home.
Good job.
You said he's a great shot, right? Whether it's a Womp-Rat in his, what did you say, T-16?
Yep.
I don't know what that is, but it sounds right. Or the reactor core.
Yep.
Great shot. Great shot. That's 1 in a million, kid, I believe is Han Solo's comment. Best of all, he doesn't need a computer targeting system. He can shoot even when unsighted.
Oh, that's a good shout, Daryl.
Now prepare yourself, because if Luke misses, he's not your only hope. There is another. And it's Leia Skywalker. So she obviously has the telepathic connection with Luke that I mentioned, but she's a woman with an American accent.
Okay.
If that doesn't make you a potentially great centre forward
I see what you're going with. Okay.
and a World Cup winner,
Yep.
then I don't know what does.
Okay, here's my problem with Leia.
Oh, although some of her runs do end up in the garbage.
So there's that. Also, New Hope gets captured. Empire Strikes Back gets captured. And Return of the Jedi gets captured.
Well, that's more to do with the basic misogyny of those 3 movies.
First of all, agreed. Second of all, though, I'm just saying, she gets caught in the trap a lot. Leia's offside all the time. You don't want her up top. That's going to be your problem. She's going to be constantly offside. She's going to be slowing down the attack. It's going to be a problem. That's what I'm saying about that one. Yeah, worth noting, it is really frustrating that there are, 2 primary female characters in the original 6 movies, and outside of that, it's a lot of side characters. So yeah, I wanted to include Leia here. No, she's going to be offside. And outside of that, you got no real other options, because Padme is not making my lineup.
Is that right, sweetheart?
Yes.
That's my problem with the original movies, is the way Han Solo talks to Leia. There is no way that any modern woman would stand for that.
I can't believe it took me this long to point out. Also, just saying, you got the brother and sister up top. Are they going to spend a lot of their time making out?
No, because they know.
Okay.
They're wiser now. They know.
They really should have added that in there.
This isn't Game of Thrones.
In the other one. Return of the Jedi, oh my God, what have we done? All right, so we've talked about our starting 11s. We got to have somebody to run these teams.
Oh, yeah.
Can we first maybe dispatch with the one that everybody said on Twitter that they were like, I'm going to be so mad if you don't have this guy as your manager?
Admiral Akbar.
Yeah. Did you have him as your manager? I don't know if you do.
No, but I do have a note here.
Okay.
So there are many people said that Admiral Akbar should be your coach or should be a striker because he's good at recognising traps, as in offside traps. I say, no, he isn't. Because when Admiral Akbar says it's a trap, do you know where they are?
In the middle of a trap.
In the middle of a trap, yeah. That's like
as one of his ships is blowing up from a fully operational Death Star. He's like, I think it's a trap. I think it's like, oh, really? You think so? That's like... It's like when Pep Guardiola has already put 7 by you, and you're like, I think we got a problem. It's like, yeah. I'm going to add no and doy to that. Yeah. So, I didn't want to use Akbar. And then the obvious one. Go ahead, Daryl.
I did. So I thought, that offside trap thing, that could definitely work. And then I watched the movie, and I was like, oh,
okay,
maybe not.
And so here's the thing. I know who the obvious one is, I think. And I think it's probably who you've gone for. So why don't you do yours first, and then we'll have a discussion about it. Because I don't want to just spend all the time saying about why I didn't pick him.
Okay. I feel like I'm being set up to fail here. But my coach is Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah. / Darth Sidious.
/ Darth Sidious. Yeah. So I know he ultimately gets thrown down the well or whatever.
Down the well. Yeah.
But he spends 6 movies executing his tactical plan successfully. Yep. And it's only the last 5 minutes where he fails, right? He's also in power between, Revenge of the Sith and the start of Star Wars A New Hope. So that's 20 years in power successfully. That's Alex Ferguson style.
And in terms of, if you're talking about Sidious, just Palpatine, he takes command of the Senate He becomes like a leader in the Senate in the first movie.
Yeah, well, that's
takes
like
control in the
managing
second.
Aberdeen.
Right, and then he's running the Senate from the second movie all the way to the end. So I mean, yeah, he's in there with a plan.
He's got this long-term tactical plan that really no one, like Mace Windu's got like a vague idea, but it's far too late, and then he like gets someone to throw him out a window. So he's long-term planner. Successful, very good at spotting people's weak points and using them to manipulate and motivate the people that he needs to.
See, but this is my problem with him, right? He's a Sith. Sith don't trust anybody. They're only looking out for themselves. So he's going to be constantly like undermining his own players and criticizing them in the press. And maybe like you're going to be his favorite player one week, but then you're a little bit too good that week. So he doesn't like you anymore. I just feel like it's too many head games.
Show me one other person that has such a record of continued success in the Star Wars universe, and I'll give him the coaching job.
I don't have one to that degree, but I've got someone who
like Yoda spending 20 years in a hut.
My manager, Daryl, is Bail Organa.
Okay, Jimmy Smith.
I was waiting for you to be like, who? And yeah, it's Jimmy Smith's character, exactly. Because I've got enough big personalities in this team. I don't need some crazy head case manager. I need someone who's going to get the job done, right? So you look at Bail Organa. He isn't a Jedi, but he quickly figures out that things are wrong, right? He's able to know. He knows that things are wrong. He doesn't have all these extra senses and stuff. He just trusts his gut. He's a politician. He's a senator in the movie, right? So he knows how to navigate the political situation and knows how to get people to do what he needs them to do. But he stays loyal to his teammates, right? He doesn't abandon them when things go south. He's going to be the manager that if you're underperforming, if you haven't scored the goals, he's going to be there saying, like, probably don't execute him. I'm going to take him under my protection. Right?
Yeah.
So that's what I want.
Screams interim coach to me.
Well, except that he's the one, I think so. Okay, I'll give you that because he's the one who essentially starts the rebellion, right? He adopts Leia. He starts leading this rebellion. So I think at the end of Revenge of the Sith, he is the interim manager. By the time we get to the 4, 5, and 6, he has won the job, right? He is running the rebellion. He is there staring down Darth Sidious. He's the one who basically gets it done when Obi-Wan and Yoda go into hiding, right? They're like hiding off on some distant planets that no one cares about. Jimmy Smith is in there doing things.
So which coach would he be then? Is there a coach who's sort of really successful but no one considers high profile or a threat? You know what I mean? Because the reason Obi-Wan and Yoda are hiding is because they're too high profile and a threat.
Montreal's coach? I forget his name. The guy he was the interim coach, right? And then he led them to the playoffs. Now the interim tag's been removed. I can't remember his name. I apologize, people. But yeah, it's essentially what you pointed out. He's an interim manager who then gets the job and performs admirably, right? He doesn't undermine people. To that end, I had, as I said, a director of scouting. That's Darth Sidious. Because Darth Sidious is able to identify young talent very quickly. He also can find older bargains that maybe people have cast aside. That'd be Count Dooku. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but he always has a development plan, and that's what you need from your director of scouting.
The problem is he keeps killing his current ones.
Exactly.
So it's a strictly one-player policy.
Yeah, not a lot of sell-on value for a lot of his people.
What else you got?
I have Jar Jar as a substitute defensive center midfielder.
Why is that then?
Okay, because he learned from his youthful mistakes, right? Phantom Menace was his youthful mistake where he's over here, he's over there, he's too involved in everything. You want your defensive midfielder to know his responsibilities. Jar Jar's talking too much, he's fighting too much, he's doing crazy stuff. Second 2 movies, he knows his place. He stays at home. That's it. He does what he needs to do. He basically doesn't go off running his mouth. He's staying at home. He kind of helps for the plot where he needs to, and he still speaks better English than Harry Redknapp. And I think that's a big thing for me.
He reads better English than Harry Redknapp.
Also true.
I've got Jar Jar as a desperation substitute. So if just the plan isn't working, if things aren't going right, at the very least you can throw Jar Jar in, and he'll do all these crazy, clumsy stuff where he knocks things over and falls over, and yet somehow everything works out for him. I'm thinking of his role fighting the droids in the Phantom Menace. He really does fall over and like accidentally lands on a gun and it shoots like 3 droids. So I think he'll accidentally unlock a defense.
Okay.
But only if you're desperate. That shouldn't be plan A, it's like plan M. Plan J at the very most.
Plan J. I agree. I've also got as my executive chairman, my director of the club.
Chairman.
Yeah, it's think Ed Woodward, for example, from Manchester United. It's Grand Moff Wilhuff Tarkin.
Is that I've forgotten his name, the actor. Peter Cushing.
Yes. Yeah, okay. So essentially, the backstory to him is he's this ruthless human who rises up the ranks, and he is the one who actually proposes the plan for the Death Star. So he has these like long-range...
So good they tried it twice.
Exactly. But it worked for a little while. So he comes up with the plans for the Death Star, so he knows how to like kind of run these high-risk, high-reward operations. He can lead a massive entity with fingers in many different pies because he runs the entire Imperial fleet, but he keeps it going, keeps it getting getting the job done. He will destroy an entire planet to get what he wants, which I think is basically the equivalent of spending a lot of money to get the player you need, right? It's like, I will stop at nothing.
It's a lot of oil
I will
money.
do everything I need to do. Exactly.
He's not afraid of raising the temperature on a planet.
This is true.
Considerably.
This is true. What are the randoms, Daryl?
I have Lando Calrissian as a sub for Han Solo. He's basically a like-for-like replacement, right? If Han needs to come out, Lando can go right in his chair, sit alongside Chewie.
And wear his number.
Wear basically the same clothes, right? He's already got the gear ready to go.
Yeah, I hadn't noticed that till the Family Guy Star Wars pointed that out, that at the very end of Empire Strikes Back, he is pretty much wearing Han Solo's clothing, which is odd. I
also have the Millennium Falcon as the team bus.
That's a good shout.
You may need to add a couple extra beds. But if that hyperdrive's working, it'll get you there on time.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like when you go into the game, you'll come out of the hotel and you'll be like, oh, yeah, we're traveling in that. Awesome. Right? Because everyone gets excited when they see the Millennium Falcon. I actually have Boba Fett as an unused sub.
I know you do.
Because
you told me why earlier, and it's an amazing explanation.
Yeah, so I feel like people want to see more of Boba Fett. But the key to wanting to see more is because you didn't see much of him to begin with. That's what made him cool. When you see more of him, you're disappointed. So he's the guy that sits on the bench. The fans call for more of him, but they don't get it.
I see.
He needs to stay there.
I see. Speaking of substitute players, I've got Greedo as a substitute forward.
Is that who Han shoots in the cantina?
Because Greedo always shoots first. That's why. Even when it appears he doesn't, he does. So Greedo's in there shooting all over the place.
I feel like we've reached the end here.
I think we have.
We basically have our team.
So, I mean, who do we leave out? We left out Padme. Padme didn't get in there. General Grievous maybe could have gotten a shout.
Arms. He could have gone in goal.
Yeah, that's right. You're right. But he's always wheezing. He's got, like, the asthma thing.
Put an asthma inhaler behind the net.
Keeps him going. That's perfect. Yeah, I like it.
Padme could use Keira Knightley for some decoy runs.
And Rose Byrne in there, too.
Is she?
Also, yeah, Rose Byrne is like her assistant in the second one.
All right.
It's weird. It's weird to see all these now famous actresses as bit part players in those.
Anyone else that didn't make it?
The Rancor.
The Rancor?
Yeah, the creature that Luke fights in Return of the Jedi.
Oh, yeah.
In the pit.
Oh, no, I haven't got much use for him, to be honest.
He's like a lumbering Ford that you put in later. He's Maron Flaney.
Target man.
Yeah, exactly. He drools slightly more, but that's the big problem. Yeah.
So if you have any ideas for Star Wars Soccer 11, you please feel free to tweet them at us at Total Soccer Show or email them to us. Contact at totalsoccershow.com. We hope you've enjoyed our Star Wars Soccer 11.
But before we go, I want to ask you again. So, what do you think is the ideal viewing order for these? Because I heard other people talking about this, and it was an interesting idea that I heard promoted, which is you can skip Phantom Menace if you want to, but they say do Episode 4, Episode 5, then do 2 and 3, then do 6.
Just watch them in order. Just go 1 to 6. Yeah, why not?
Because I think it gives you like a better understanding maybe, and it adds some mystery to it. Whereas I feel like the prequels were made to explain stuff that we had questions about and we're excited about from those first 3. Yeah,
but it's better if you go into the prequels without the knowledge of the later movies, because then you don't feel like, here's a reference, here's a reference, here's a reference. You know what I mean? You just feel like you're watching a story. And this is from my experience. I hadn't seen any of these movies for quite a long time, so I watched them 1 to 6 in order. And it is more satisfying, because at least it's a straight linear line, and it's not going to get too confusing. And if you're going to watch them all anyway, why not do it in order?
But doesn't it ruin the whole, like, Luke, I'm your father? Like, I remember that moment from when I was a little kid, and it blew my mind. Like, how can that be?
Right.
I don't understand.
I know, but if someone doesn't know that yet, then...
Yeah, but if you're a little kid, that's what I'm saying. If you're showing them to, like we have a buddy, John Tolbert, who's showing them to his son. And I think I'm pretty sure they did them in order. I think they did them in reverse order, actually, because they just watched Revenge of the Sith. But that might be... I think Revenge of the Sith is the only one that has... like a PG-13 rating as opposed to the other ones.
Oh, yeah, he's all burned up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I feel like you want to preserve some of those original 3, like that mystery and things like that, rather than just have it all laid out for you in those first 3, and then you're watching 4, 5, and 6.
All right. I mean, I don't have anything else to offer. All I know is I go in order.
All right. Fair enough. And I go chaos. like Jar Jar.
The Jar Jar viewing order.
Indeed.
So there we go. Yeah, Star Wars Force Awakens opens December 18th. Should be able to get tickets by March 11th or so. Best of luck with that. If you enjoyed at 11 here, we may do it for other franchises, other topics, other genres, maybe. Thinking Game of Thrones, that kind of thing.
You really want me to watch Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
I think Game of Thrones, and I really need to watch all the seasons of Sopranos. That'd be a good one, too.
Yeah. The Wire?
Can I start all Furio? Can that be my starting 11?
if you like.
I could do The Wire. I could do a starting. I could probably do that right now. If you give me 5 minutes, I could come up with a capable starting 11 from The Wire.
If you have any ideas, again, tweet them at us or email them to us, contact@totalsoccershow.com. Mm-hmm. Until then, Tyler Rockwell, may the force be with you.
And also with you.
Well, you give me your best Chewbacca to do the sound check. It's pretty good.